Hey guys, my name is Mitsumiao, and today I'm excited to say that we now have a pretty good idea of what the two new operators are going to be like in the upcoming Wind Bastion DLC for Rainbow Six Siege. And so first and foremost, the new defensive operator is named Cade. It appears that his gadget is going to be a mix between Ela and Bandit. I'm guessing you're going to be able to toss this anywhere, but if it attaches to a metal surface, so like a reinforcement or a hatch, for example, it's going to electrify said surface. Now, some people might be a little bit worried right now and thinking that this is essentially Bandit 2.0. Why in the world would you ever want to play as Bandit? This guy seems like he'd be a lot more flexible because he's able to toss these anywheres and also electrify hatches, which of course Bandit can't do. What's going to happen to bandits? Well, if I had to take a guess, Cade is only going to have access to 2 or 3 of this gadget. And so while yes, he might be more flexible, in a pinch if you notice that a thermite is trying to get through a wall, you could maybe toss this across the room to stop his progress, but you're only going to get a couple of them, because if you did get 4, you would be right. Why in the world would you ever want to play as Bandit anymore? I actually have a suspicion that these two operators are going to complement each other really well, because it's going to force the offensive team to think about how they use their resources. If you have a Bandit electrifying all the walls and then you have Cade electrifying the hatches, offense, if they only have a Thatcher, needs to make the tough choice. Are we going to try to get rid of the Bandit batteries, or are we going to try and deal with Cade so that we can get through the hatches? They're not going to be able to get through all of them, and so they're going to have to make those tough decisions. And so that's going to add in another layer that we currently do not have in Rainbow Six Siege. Cade also has the potential to be a soft counter to Maverick. Now, you might be thinking, wait a second, Maverick actually counters Bandit. Why in the world would Cade be a soft counter to Maverick? Well, a lot of times the reason why you bring him to get through a reinforced wall is not actually to open up a hole for you and your team to pass on through, because a lot of times that really isn't all that effective. It's mainly so that you can take out the Bandit batteries and not have to deal with the Bandit trick whatsoever. Maverick has made the Bandit trick pretty much obsolete on some maps, like on Chalet Garage, for example. And so if the offensive team forgoes bringing a Thatcher because they do have a Maverick to complement their thermites, Cade can place his gadget anywhere on that reinforcement. It could be in the top left corner, it could be below, it could be in the middle of the reinforcement. It's going to be very difficult for Maverick to pinpoint its exact location and take it out. A lot harder for them to pinpoint it compared to a Bandit battery. And so while yes, he could still open it up himself, he could still open up a small little hole for him and his team to pass on through, it's not going to be nearly as effective as trying to open it up with a thermite like before. And so I think that's why it could be a soft counter. And then on top of that, I think Cade also has the potential to be a real nuisance in stopping offense from getting through hatches, just like Bandit can be when he's juggling his batteries on reinforcements. If they're using a Thatcher to try to eliminate your gadget on a hatch, for example, as soon as they try to use an Habana charge against it, well, it still looks like his gadget has an activation time. You can't just throw this on a wall or on a hatch and automatically electrify it. Like, it does seem like it takes a little bit, so you need to be quick about it. But if you do notice that they're using Habana charges on a hatch, quickly throw one up and then electrify it and then eliminate all of those charges. And so they're going to have to use another Thatcher against said reinforcements. Imagine doing this on the basement of Oregon. One of the biggest weaknesses of that objective is that as soon as offense is able to open up the hatch, it becomes very difficult for defense to retake the room. And so if you have a Cade constantly slowing down their progress, just kind of sitting in the corner and waiting for the Habana to use her charges, he could really slow down their progress or just flat out make it impossible for them to get on through, which of course is going to be pretty advantageous. And so all in all, I'm really excited about the possibilities of Cade. I think he's going to have a lot of synergies with other operators. I definitely don't think that he's going to replace Bandit. I think he's going to be more of a complement. And in general, I cannot wait to see how he's going to change Rainbow Six Siege. Now, as for the offensive side of things, we have Nomad, and that's where it gets really interesting. So according to this short little teaser trailer, we clearly see Nomad activating or using her gadget, and then a short couple of seconds later, the defensive team literally flies through the air. In the article that Ubisoft released a couple of days ago, they talked about how she's good at pushing the enemy away, pushing them back, but I was not expecting them to literally fly through the air because of her gadgets. Now, this has the potential to function in a lot of different ways. First of all, it could just be like Ash, where you fire this off in the distance, and then a couple of seconds later, if any enemy is nearby, it pushes them away. I don't really think that's going to be the case, though, because that sounds very limiting. Yeah, in some circumstances, you might have a general idea of where someone is, but how often is a defensive player going to sit next to this gadget when they know it's nearby and let themselves be pushed around? And so with that in mind, I have a suspicion that Nomad may actually be our very first offensive trap operator. You'll place this down on flanking routes, so if you know a defender is nearby, you don't really have to watch your flank anymore. This gadget will do it for you. They walk on by, it activates, it pushes them either away from the room or into your room, and then makes them hopefully an easy target to take out. We don't know if it will drop them to the ground and disorient them. It could have a disorientation effect like Echo, for example. That's one possibility. Or it simply just could be crowd control, where it just causes them to get forced to the ground or pushes them away. This also has the potential to be a very versatile and skill-based gadget. If you want to slow down the progress of the defensive team when they're trying to retake the objective, for example, places in the doorway where you know they're going to be coming from. They enter the doorway, it activates, and then it pushes them back. And if it also causes this disorientation effect, that's something they're now going to have to deal with. Even if it doesn't do that, you've now slowed down their progress because they literally got pushed away, which is something we've never had in Rainbow Six Siege. This also could be used to get people to get pushed into the objective room so that you can take them out easier. If you know that they're quick peeking one of these doorways, if you place it properly, maybe you will force them to actually get pushed down into the room, making them a much easier target. And so all in all, I cannot wait to learn more about Nomad's gadgets. I've always wanted to have an operator on offense that's able to lay down traps and watch your back, and it seems like we're finally going to have that character. And then finally, we also got a preview of the new map Fortress. First impressions, at least visually, this thing looks incredible. It seems like every time they come out with a new DLC, they're always up in the game when it comes to the actual visuals, and this is no exception. I love the fact that it's bright and vibrant. Some of the more recent maps have been darker. You can still see in them because at the end of the day, it is a competitive game. We need to be able to see people, but I like the fact that they've gone for a brighter tone here. We'll also notice that there is going to be a lot of roof access. They mentioned in the article a couple of days ago is that this is going to be a map that focuses on that more vertical gameplay and using the roof to actually get into the building. Now, I personally was a little worried that this is going to be Tower 2.0. Doesn't appear that's going to be the case, but if you actually notice on the outside of the map, at least the brief parts that we see, there doesn't actually appear to be a whole lot of windows or doorways to get on the inside. Don't get me wrong, they are there. I hope that this isn't a Bartlett 2.0 where there's only one single doorway to get into the building, but according to what we've seen so far and this article, it looks like they have put a larger emphasis on using the rooftop to get on in the inside, and I'm really curious to see how they're going to handle it. Maybe it's going to have little inlets and other windows on the interior that we have to take advantage of. Maybe it's a little bit riskier to use those entryways, but it allows you to get into the objective room a little bit quicker. Hard to say, but clearly they are going for more roof access on this map, and I can't wait to see how all that plays out. You'll also notice that there is going to be two different sections of this map. You have the rich and renovated section where everything looks incredible. It looks like you're at a 5-star hotel, and then there is the unrenovated parts, which is going to be a little bit more run down. Ubisoft's reason for doing this is that they want to make it very obvious to the player where they're located on the map. If you spawn in to the rundown version of it, you're going to know very quickly where you are. Now, this doesn't really matter all that much, maybe in the grand scheme of things. If you play this map a couple of times, you're probably going to learn all the layouts, but I like that Ubisoft does make this extra effort. Not only because it makes the visuals look a little bit more interesting, you have that contrast between the two different sections, but also, especially for newer players, it will hopefully ease them in and make it a little bit easier for you to simply learn the map. One thing I did notice during this reveal, though, is it appears that a lot of the floors and the ceilings are not going to be destructible. Many of these surfaces are concrete or tile. Unless tile is now different on this map compared to every other map in Rainbow Six Siege, usually that indicates that you're not going to be able to get line of sight from above or from below. it also seems like a lot of the normal walls are also indestructible. Now, I can't imagine that being the case throughout the map. There are going to be walls that you need to reinforce. There are going to be soft walls that you can get on through, but at least according to this little teaser trailer, as they're moving around, it just seems like everything is made out of solid indestructible walls. And so I'm really curious to see how this map is balanced. I'm guessing there is going to be verticality. Ubisoft seems to really enjoy that aspect about Rainbow Six Siege. They think it adds in another dynamic and level to the game. And so I can't imagine there being absolutely no verticality, but according to this trailer, it does seem like it's going to be very limited. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's update video. I hope you enjoyed. Give me your thoughts on what we discussed today. Are you excited about the 2 new operators? How do you think their gadget's going to work? Do you think they're going to be balanced? Are you a little bit concerned about how they're going to impact the game? Let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, guys, until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.